talking about the incredible life of Alexander Graham Bell. And look, today we aren't just going to rattle off dates and patents. We are going to uncover how this profound, burning desire to connect people who were isolated by silence ultimately ended up connecting the entire globe. You know, it is so easy to look at historical titans and assume they were just, struck by lightning, or that they set out with this grand master plan to alter the course of humanity. But massive historical shifts? They rarely start that way. More often than not, they start with ordinary people who are just trying to solve deeply personal problems for the people they love. And as we'll see, the invention of the telephone was absolutely not born out of a desire for global corporate dominance. It was born out of love, empathy, and a very personal struggle with silence. Which brings us to the ultimate question for us today. How did a teacher of the deaf end up changing how the whole world communicates? Seriously, how do you get from a quiet classroom to a device that sits in literally every pocket on Earth? Okay, let's dive into this and trace the journey. Because to truly understand the inventor, we've got to start with the origins of his unique obsessions. Section 1. A boy fascinated by sound. Born on March 3, 1847 in Edinburgh, Scotland, young Alexander had this restless, endless curiosity about how the world worked. But his absolute greatest fascination, the thing that just completely captured his imagination more than anything else, was sound. And honestly, it's no wonder he was obsessed with sound, because it was quite literally the family business. His father, his grandfather, and his brother all worked in the fields of elocution and speech. They studied the mechanics of clear, expressive communication. So from a very young age, Alexander wasn't just, hearing voices. He was being taught to understand the deep mechanics of sound, how the human vocal cords work, how breath creates vibration, and how those vibrations travel through the air. It's like a giant puzzle, and he was completely immersed in the science of communication from day one. But there was this stark, really heartbreaking contrast in his childhood home. While the men in his family were absolute experts in speaking, his mother was profoundly deaf. She struggled to hear words and had to rely entirely on the physical vibrations of sound just to understand what was happening around her. Now, this is the crucial emotional motivation for all of his future work. Her deafness deeply affected young Alexander. He didn't just want to study sound academically. He was driven by this lifelong, agonizing desire to help his mother and others like her experience the world of sound. That childhood empathy was for sure the bedrock of his entire adult life. Section 2. Driven to connect people. Let's move to this next phase and see how this builds. So as a young man, Bell actually crosses the Atlantic and eventually settles in the Northeast United States, moving specifically to Boston, Massachusetts. Now, Boston at that time was this thriving hub of education and innovation. It was the absolute perfect place for Bell to pursue what had now become his primary life's mission, finding tangible ways to help deaf people communicate. During those Boston years, Bell lived a life of sheer, hard-working duality. Talk about a grueling schedule. By day, he was a highly dedicated teacher, working directly with deaf students to help them navigate a hearing world. But by night, the teacher became the relentless inventor. He stayed up for hours conducting endless sound experiments. The daily reality of his students' struggles fueled his late-night curiosity. He became fixated on a truly radical idea. What if you could take the vibrations of sound, the very things his mother relied on, and figure out how to move them not just through the air, but on wires? And his connection to the deaf community wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal. By 1885, Bell had started a family, and his wife, Mabel, was also deaf. So his profound dedication to studying sound and creating these communication devices wasn't for fame and it wasn't for fortune. He was quite literally trying to build bridges to the people he loved most in the world. All those late nights, all those wire experiments, and all that love would eventually culminate into a moment that completely shattered the boundaries of human connection. Section 3. The telephone breakthrough. All that relentless work eventually culminated on one specific date, March 7th, 1876. So the crucial point is, this is the day history was officially made. It was on this date that Alexander Graham Bell's research on hearing and speech devices finally yielded world-changing results. He was awarded the very first US patent for the telephone. The world would never be the same. The whole concept of distance was about to be completely redefined. And his invention scaled with breathtaking speed. By 1892, Bell was making the very first long-distance phone call from New York to Chicago. And this brilliantly illustrates the journey we've been on. We started this explainer with a curious little boy in Scotland tinkering with sound to help his mother. And now we are looking at a historical titan proving that his invention has massive, real-world, continent-spanning application. He had literally connected the world. But a mind that brilliant doesn't just invent one thing and retire.
Section 4. Beyond the famous phone.
It is absolutely amazing to realize that his inventive mind didn't stop at the standard telephone. He was always curious, always trying to be helpful, and just relentlessly inventive. Along the way, he actually made a wireless telephone. Think about that. He was laying the conceptual groundwork for the mobile devices we literally cannot live without today. He also invented a metal detector. He was simply a man who saw problems in the world and constantly tried to apply science to solve them. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible irony of his later life. Despite inventing the device that ushered in the era of modern instant communication, Bell actually considered the telephone to be, quote, an intrusion on his real work as a scientist. In fact, he completely refused to have a telephone in his own study. No way, right? The man who connected the entire world valued his own peace, quiet, and uninterrupted focus above all else when it came time to do his deep scientific work. Which leaves us with a truly fascinating thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. How do we view constant connection today compared to how the creator of the telephone viewed it? We live in a hyper-connected world where our phones are always buzzing, always demanding our attention, right there in our pockets. Yet the man who started the whole shebang actively locked his invention out of his workspace to protect his focus. It's a brilliant reminder that while technology gives us incredible tools, it is ultimately up to us to decide how we let it shape our daily lives. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the amazing life of Alexander Graham Bell. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.